Well, 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 was that not an insightful dialogue, insightful conversation? So we're going to continue this conversation going. The future of construction isn't just about buildings. We think of it much as buildings, but it's also about systems, people, and how those two work really well together. Our next guest comes from a company that is over 360 years old. I swear I had to double check that. I went to the website and had a look. It's for real, over 360 years old. But their focus is firmly on what comes next. Today we're going to get a first look at some new global insights and what people are really thinking about sustainability when it comes to construction. We're going to be looking at what's shifting, what's stuck, and what we need to do about it. So to help me in this dialogue, please give a warm Change Now round of applause to the Group Sustainability Director, the Group Director of Sustainable Business Development and Construction from Saint-Gobain, Pascal Eveillard. Hello, hello, Pascal. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
I'm going to start with one of the basics. For people who have not come across Saint-Gobain before, because there might be many in the audience who haven't heard about the company, even though it's been around for literally centuries, can you perhaps tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Very glad to be here today. Well, as you reminded, Saint-Gobain is a 360-year young company.
Correction. Thank you for the
Young
correction.
company.
360 years young.
And we strive to make the world a better home. This is our purpose. We are a leading producer and distributor of construction products and building solutions. Just to name a few, we have a very broad range of products. We are a producer of plasterboards, insulation products, waterproofing solutions, construction chemicals to help decarbonize cement and concrete. We also produce roofing and siding products in North America. For Saint-Gobain, what is important is to put innovation, customers, and sustainability at the very heart of our strategy. We want to innovate to reduce our footprint, but we want also to innovate to help our customers to build and renovate more sustainably, to have buildings which have a reduced environmental impact, less energy consumption, reduced carbon footprint, but also buildings that will deliver more comfort and well-being for people, buildings occupants as well as workers on the job sites. And also very important for Saint-Gobain, we believe, as a large corporation, that we have a role to play in accelerating market transformation.
Market transformation, and in the heart of the business, I love that you talk about not just the products, but actually creating homes that feel really welcoming for people, that are affordable for them to live in, and also very cozy. Well, today we've got an incredible little debut. I love debuting things, it's great fun. So you've got your global debut of the 2025 Sustainable Construction Barometer. Why did you create this barometer, and what did you hope it would change?
Yes, as you said, today is a premiere. We are very pleased to reveal the results of the third edition of our barometer. Actually, this barometer is part of a complete system we have developed 3 years ago, which is called the Saint-Gobain Sustainable Construction Observatory. I mentioned before that we consider that sustainability is a must-have. For us, it's a no-brainer option to go for more sustainable construction. You reminded the impact on people and the environment of the built environment. Definitely, it's not possible to continue to build and renovate as we did in the past. So there is a real need for change. But if we want to change, if we want to accelerate change, we don't just need to have better solutions. There are already lots of solutions that exist on the market. We will have even better and better solutions. But what is more important is to create a new momentum on the market, to be able to mobilize all stakeholders in the value chain to act for change. And this is very much what we want to do with this observatory. We want to raise awareness for change. We want to identify the barriers for change, but also to identify what are the options to go beyond those barriers. And with this observatory, we have developed a unique platform to bring together all stakeholders on the sector. And we have a barometer. We will discuss the main results. So the barometer is really to measure the state of the opinion regarding sustainable construction. We have a magazine that you can access easily on our website that leaves the floor not only to Saint-Gobain people. There is actually nobody from Saint-Gobain talking in this magazine.
There's literally nobody from Saint-Gobain in the whole magazine. So you publish it, but nobody from...
Absolutely. What we want is to leave the floor to all kinds of stakeholders, sharing experience, sharing good practice. Sometimes they disagree with what we do even, but it's not important. What is important is to create a new momentum. And a third pillar in this observatory are the so-called Saint-Gobain Sustainable Construction Talks that we organize regularly at global and local level, and where we bring together all kinds of stakeholders to discuss some issues, and more importantly, to foster collaboration. So these talks are made to create new kinds of collaborations.
I love the work that you're doing is evaluating what's happening right now, but also creating spaces for the conversations we need to be having in construction. And it's quite unique that your voice isn't necessarily always in those conversations, because often when the conversations are led by large organizations, it can feel as if those conversations have an agenda behind them. But it's quite intelligent of you to say, well, we're not even going to be involved in the magazine. We're going to have other people in this space sharing their expertise in it. We spoke about the barometer. I can't jump over that, because I actually want to know a little bit about what you found out. In particular, what are 2 or 3, because there's lots of data in it, what are 2 or 3 key findings that really stood out for you? And I'm particularly interested in the ones that might challenge how people in this room might perhaps think about construction.
So maybe just a few elements on the barometer before I give you insights into the results. So it's a barometer that we carry out in 27 countries. We survey 4 groups of stakeholders: professionals across the value chain, public officials and public authorities as a second group of stakeholders. We survey also students in architecture and engineering, and as a last group of surveyed stakeholders, NGOs and associations. So quite a broad panel of stakeholders across the board. And what's new this year, for the very first time, we have also surveyed the public. And in each of the 27 countries, we have surveyed a representative sample, more than 1,000 citizens in each of those 27 countries.
So in each country, 1,000 citizens, so 27,000 individuals from the public were also surveyed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
On top of the 5,000 people as key stakeholders. So this gives us quite a nice overview of what is the state of opinion regarding sustainable construction over the planet. The 27 countries are actually spread all over the different continents. So what are the findings?
What did we learn? What did we find?
So there is a lot. So you will find all the detailed results on our website. I will focus on 3 main findings. The first one is regarding awareness. It's a good news to see that awareness is there. There is a shared sense of urgency and a strong public support for more sustainable construction. 67% of the stakeholders state to be familiar with sustainable construction, and actually it's 7 points above last year's results. 69% of stakeholders view sustainable construction as a priority, and even 87% say we have to do more in terms of sustainable construction, which is a very strong message. In a time where you have some backlash on sustainability, to have such a high level of respondents.
I'm really surprised by that data point. 87% of people say we have to do something.
Absolutely.
And I think it's very easy to listen to what we're hearing in the world and have a very different opinion, but the survey results don't lie.
It was made December last year.
Okay, so December 2024 is when the survey was done.
And the results are communicated today. So it was at a time where some elections had already happened. So good news, 87% of stakeholders consider that we need to do more in sustainable construction. And when it comes to citizens, there is less awareness on what sustainable construction means. Only 38% of the citizens know what it is, but 60% recognize we need to do more in terms of sustainable construction.
So there's an opportunity there in construction.
Absolutely.
The awareness for the public isn't quite as high, but the willingness is there.
Is there, absolutely. Second, learning. Sustainable construction remains very much focused on the environment. Respondents primarily associate sustainable construction with environmental issues. The main criteria that they use to define sustainability and sustainable construction remains very much the same. There are some regional variations in priorities, but basically it's about energy efficiency, carbon footprint, more ecological materials. The human dimension of sustainable construction remains a secondary concern. So there are only 15% of stakeholders and public respondents that consider that sustainable construction has something to do with improved health and well-being of buildings occupants. And this is very much something we need to change.
So people are literally just thinking of carbon emissions, energy efficiency.
Better for the environment, but they forget the people dimension.
So the people dimension, there's opportunity there.
Absolutely.
In terms of the people dimension, and in terms of what construction can do for individuals within their
Absolutely.
homes.
And a new topic that has really popped up this year in terms of element of definition or priority identified is resilience to climate change. This has become a priority issue in Africa, in Southeast Asia, and it's the second priority in the Middle East. And this is very new. This is by far the topic that has experienced the most progress over the recent years. So there is a real concern for people to have more resilience into their buildings, into construction.
What I'm hearing is there's a lot of opportunity in construction and in sustainable construction, and resilience is a big one that's available to people.
Maybe a last and third lesson?
Yes, please.
There is a need for more information and more training. Only 28% of the stakeholders feel they fully understand what is sustainable construction and what is behind. So there is a lot of room for more information and more education. Only 35% of professionals, meaning contractors, installers, have been trained specifically on sustainability. This is a huge gap, and this is a gap that explains also the big difference we see between intention. Intentions are there, but the actions are still missing. So the gap between intention and acting are probably coming from this lack of confidence given by more education. So raising education and raising awareness should be seen as a top priority.
So there's lots, what I'm seeing, I mean, the Barometer is definitely worth going on the website and downloading for yourself and having a full read of, because we can't go through every single stat in there. But I'm hearing there's lots of opportunity for people to dive in. What does the Barometer tell us about what to expect in terms of leading the change? You know, what's the role of designers, of innovators, of startups? Did we get some inkling as to where we should be going next?
So yes, this is one of the questions we ask. Who do you believe are the best place to accelerate and to foster and to make change in the construction sector? And the answer is very clear. Everywhere, the ones that come first to be able to act are architects and engineering firms, by far. And this is quite a strong message, and actually a good recognition that if you want to make more sustainable buildings, you need to start at design stage. It's very much a matter of better design. If you want to have better buildings at an affordable price, affordable cost, you need to have it considered from the start at design stage. So designers, engineers, architects are definitely the best place to introduce and to foster change. At the second position, we have the private sector. So private sector at large, encompassing manufacturers like us, encompassing contractors, are considered also to be key players to accelerate change. We may have expected public authorities, public institutions to come first, people to expect more from the public sector. Actually, apart from Europe, where the public institutions come pretty high, second at the same level as the private sector, as private actors, actually it comes at a much lower level in the rest of the world. Clearly, it's considered to be a topic for the private sector, for the private initiative, so it means we have a role to play.
So there's definitely a big role for the private sector to play, and particularly we've got to be starting at the design stage. We've got to be thinking about the materials, the people, the environment, the cost for people to be able to live in these homes. Throughout the last day and a half here at Change Now, collaboration has been a term that's come up a lot.
Yep.
You know, we can't be working in silos, we have to be working together. What kinds of partnerships, you know, Saint-Gobain is 360 years young, fingers in lots of pies, shall we say. What kind of partnerships are you looking for that would be great collaborations to look at beyond Change Now? So we've got the Barometer, but are there other ways that people can tap into your network, write for the magazine, etc.?
So clearly, as you say, collaboration is a key word. So if nothing will happen in the construction sector if we don't break the silos. There are too many silos in this sector between investors, developers, architects, so everybody is working in silos. So we need to have much more cross-sectorial collaboration. We need to have collaborations at global level, because sustainability is a global issue, as well as at local level. Construction is very local, so we need to be able to play
to bridge both of those gaps. We can't just look at local, both of them need to be considered.
Absolutely. As a multinational company, we have a role to play at both levels. At global level, because lots of policies, initiatives are taken at global level, but things will happen at local level. So we need also to bridge between the two levels, and we need to act at two levels. The first level for collaboration is clearly to accelerate innovation. So I said before, there are already lots of solutions. Still, we can do better, and innovation will come by more partnerships, by more collaboration. Not only innovation in terms of products, also innovation in terms of working methods, in terms of processes, how to better work together across a project, how to have better design tools to facilitate choices and selections of more sustainable options.
It's interesting that you distinguish that in terms of innovation, because often in construction, when we think about innovation, we think about the products, right? And to start to think, innovation is not just the actual products and solutions, it's also the design and the processes
Absolutely.
that we use from start to finish.
To innovate in the processes will be key in the construction sector. It's too much conservative in terms of processes and way of working. We need also to have more collaboration to be able to look after affordability of construction. So we can't left apart a big part of the market. So today sustainability is in many countries is still too much limited to the upper range of the market. So we need to make sure that through collaboration, it will cascade also all across the market.
So it's not, because we hear a lot about things like the green tax. As soon as we go sustainable, it gets more expensive because it's at that higher end of the market.
At least it's a perception that it has to be more expensive. We can prove it's not more expensive, not always, and it's again, it's a matter of design, it's a matter of what you will put behind, but it's not necessarily more expensive, or at least we need to make sure that it will be accessible and affordable for a vast majority of citizens across the planet. And maybe a last level where we need more collaboration is, I said before that there are little expectations towards policymakers and public institutions. Still, we believe that at some stage, if you want to scale up in the sector, you need to have better policies and supportive policies. Voluntary initiatives are clearly key to kickstart processes, are clearly key to show the way forward. You need to start on a voluntary basis, but in such a diffuse sector, in such a multidisciplinary sector. If you want to scale up, at some stage you need to have regulations, you need to have supportive policies. And this is where we need collaboration. Collaboration between stakeholders towards policymakers, collaboration with the policymakers to secure that we have a good visibility on what will come next and to make sure that the proper investments will be made.
Collaboration's a really big one, and especially I like how you break down. In the opening, Santiago said everybody must go, but we can't wait for anybody, right? So everybody needs to move forward, but we can't afford to wait for anybody. And I can see that very much applying to the role of policy. As organizations, we can't be waiting for policy in order to take action, but we also need to be working with policy
Absolutely.
in order to scale the action.
Absolutely.
When we talk about sustainability, we also need to think about social sustainability, because that often gets overshadowed with carbon metrics. Let's think about carbon. But what about the social aspect? How are you helping the industry to think beyond emissions into building buildings which are better for people too, not just great buildings, but buildings that are also just great for society?
No, it's a very important point. I mentioned before that we have seen in the results that sustainable construction is very much related to environmental topics, while we strongly believe that a sustainable construction delivers both low environmental footprint and enhanced health and well-being for people living in the buildings. And it's also a matter of social acceptability. We can't ask people to support more efforts in terms of sustainability if we don't deliver on the social dimension. So it's, for us it's key. And we believe, and we have already started, and it's an area also of collaboration, that it's very important to bring facts and figures to show first that you can build and renovate and work on the two aspects of better environmental impact and better health and well-being. So both are fully compatible. It's not either or. You can do both at once. And you can also demonstrate, and this is what we need to do more, we can demonstrate that it is affordable. It's even not only affordable in terms of cost, but it delivers also in terms of reduced spending for people. So people, for sure, that have less energy spending will have some money savings, but they will have also better living conditions, they will have a better health, so they will save money for their health as well, and it will be a reduced cost for the society in the end. So we can make this case. We have already evidence for that, but this is not known enough. So we need to bring more facts, more evidence that there is a full compatibility between social and environmental dimensions, and that it can deliver in terms of financial aspects.
So it can be financially responsible, socially
Absolutely.
responsible,
Absolutely.
and environmentally
Absolutely.
responsible. There is a point in the middle where all of those meet. And I particularly want to pull out what you said about how important it is to make it something that people want to get behind. Because I think it's very easy to design what you want to design and create products that you think are going to be great. But if individuals aren't bought into it, if they don't understand it, if it doesn't feel like something that's going to be, I don't know, aesthetically pleasing, they're not going to buy it. So we do need to balance all of those dimensions.
And clearly for people, it's much more sexy to say, we are building schools where your children will be able to better learn because they will have better acoustics, better indoor air quality. You will have people recovering more quickly in hospitals because the indoor environment will be better than talking, let's work on carbon footprint, let's have less resource consumption. It's not so sexy for people. For sure, it's important as well. But if you can bring this kind of argument,
all of those things together, we'll have a much
clearly
more...
you will create a much stronger momentum and much more demand for more sustainable construction.
Fantastic. Pascal, I could stay here and talk to you for ages, but we're out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Pascal a massive round warm of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.